China tries to pretend on the world stage, the diplomats and the out-facing news, that China is a mature country who can deal with other countries in a mature way and diplomatic way. But unfortunately, that's not true. In fact, it's an incredibly immature government, and the way that they deal with the outside world is by villainizing the outside world.
Right.
The way that they deal with the outside world is by ridiculing the outside world, and they encourage this amount of ridiculement in the populace. Okay, they teach the people of China to hate Japan. Okay, and look, they have legitimate gripes when it comes to the treatment that they suffered at the hands of the Japanese during World War II. The Nanjing Massacre and various other things that happened that were terrible atrocities. The entire world at that time, the Allies, have a lot of gripes against Japan. Japan was a nasty, nasty character during World War II.
One of the worst.
If not the worst.
If not the worst.
The kind of atrocities that they did. And
particularly
and the bad things.
to China.
Yeah, absolutely. But as we all know, that was in the past. Things have changed. Japan has reformed dramatically. Things are very different now. But in China, they do not want people to forgive or forget.
It's all for convenience. So they'll take, for example, the school children in the city I lived in, they would take them to the Anti-Japan War Crimes Museum, which these are legitimate horrible things.
It's like a Holocaust museum.
Yeah, gas chamber stuff. Bacterial experimentation, killing
Unit
babies.
7, whatever it was.
Horrible stuff. But they'll take 5-year-olds to go see corpses and horrible atrocities, and then teach hatred from a very young age, and then wonder why later it gets out of control. And the reason they do this is it's a common tactic for authoritarian governments, is that they need it's almost like a scapegoat to fall back on when things go bad domestically.
Yes.
So we've talked about this a million times, but the only protests that are allowed in China are protests against Japan or against other
countries, like Korea or something.
And you can't just go have one. I can't just go, if let's say I was a Chinese person, I can't just go have an anti-Japan protest. You have to register it and then get approval, right?
Yeah.
Now, once you do that, then you can have a very organized protest. But these things get out of hand. They burn down sushi shops. They kill, or they set like Japanese businesses on fire. They flip Japanese cars over. Yeah,
remember, most of the time, in fact, all of the time, those so-called Japanese businesses are Chinese run.
Oh yeah, in the cars and all this kind of stuff. It's
Chinese owned.
They're Chinese, 51% Chinese owned.
Yeah, and the people that own them are Chinese too.
And the owners are Chinese, so you're just hurting yourself. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We've seen these blow up, and they're scary. They're very scary events, but they're always government sanctioned, because what it does is it's always around a very convenient time. Maybe there's a scandal with a politician. Maybe there's a huge thing comes out about the
downturn in the economy.
Maybe there's a big medical scandal.
Stock market
Maybe
crash.
the stock market crashes. When you allow people to blow off steam, you can redirect anger away from the party and then towards another country, a foreign entity. America, Canada, Japan. They always do this, right?
Japan's the number one scapegoat.
Japan's usually a number one scapegoat. And so there's a lot of deep-seated hatred for that. If you turn on the TV, there's anti-Japan war dramas all day on every channel.
Every day.
Pretty much every channel, every major channel.
Sure.
News broadcasts. The slang in Chinese language. 小日本. This the belittling thing. They call it Little Japan or
小日本鬼子, little Japanese
ghosts, little Japanese devils, right?
Yes, yeah.
This is very okay to say. This is not like two guys hanging out at the bar saying racial
little
slurs.
children in kindergarten are saying it.
Teachers.
Leaders. School plays in kindergarten are about killing Japanese people.
It's a deep.
You can go to these theme parks where you can bayonet.
Yes,
like Japanese soldiers, strawmen. They have an effigy of a Japanese soldier that's made out of straw in a uniform, and little children, like 5-year-olds, are bayoneting these things.
I actually went to one where there was American soldiers.
Yeah, you get that too. It's ridiculous. It's teaching people discrimination and hatred on an industrial scale, and everybody gets taught this. There's no exceptions. Sure. Everybody gets taught to hate the Japanese in China. So everyone.
So bring this back.
Yeah.
Right? You wonder
by the state.
Yes, it's state-sanctioned hatred. Right?
Yeah.
And it's scary and it's really messed up, but it's for a reason. Because, like I said, the party is ultimately the most scared of people standing up to rebel against them. If you can misdirect, or if you can redirect that, and you can take some of the heat off the central government, then they're not too worried anymore. They can have an effigy basically for the people to bayonet and kind of relieve some of their steam. So what happened here, you won't be surprised when ex-prime minister, no matter what opinions you have about him, by the way, it doesn't really matter. This is more about, the public opinion, public sentiment, what happened. We were not surprised to see just the absolute atrocious things that people did and said. And unfortunately, I want to say this, is that you can look at this two ways. Yes, China is a huge country with 1.4 billion people. Mm-hmm. And yes, there are a ton of reasonable people that didn't say things like this. Yes. However, the issue I have with this is that a huge chunk of people did say awful things and showed themselves to be very callous about this and say awful, horrible things. Yes. And the second way I look at this is it's not even necessarily their fault. Because if you've been indoctrinated from like a 3-year-old to hate this other being that's actually a demon, sick entity that's your enemy and you want to kill your whole life, of course you're going to say bad stuff about this. Sure. It's not, like I said, I think the analogy is good. It's not two dudes sitting there saying racial slurs at a bar in Alabama. It's not like, like saying horrible things about, people of a different color. This is ingrained so deeply that no one thinks it's bad at all to say any of this stuff. And the reason I wanted to bring this up, and I think this is very necessary to preface this, not to cover anyone's asses, but to say you have to understand going into this why people would act like this. And number two, you have to understand that the Chinese government is trying to play off their citizens' actions like it's a couple bad people when they've created this monster. They've created it, and they're trying to look like the good guy.
It is not a minority, it's the majority.
The majority.
So they might say, a couple of bad eggs, and they might be now going out trying to censor some of this stuff, but I'm telling you, it's the majority. If you live in China, if the subject of Japan or Japanese people ever comes up, the majority of the people, in fact, 99% of people will have bad things to say about Japan and Japanese people.
Sure.
Very few people don't.
I got to go back for a second.
Yeah.
Everyone's mad because I'm doing the Alabama thing again.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've actually been to Alabama.
Two guys. So have I.
Oh, you have?
Of course. I've been to every state.
Okay.
You know that.
So why do you single it out then?
I don't know. It's just like a stereotype. So imagine two guys are sitting in Louisiana, right?
Why is it got to be the South?
Or
How about
Arkansas.
Nebraska?
Or Nebraska.
Or California.
Two guys are sitting in California.
They'll get canceled, though.
No, they will. That's why I'm just using easy.
Someone will come and stand up to them and say, like, I'm calling the cops on you.
Yeah, I'll put it to you this way. Picture wherever you would think people are making racial stereotypes, you're in that bar. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't have to be Alabama.
Yeah, you could be in, like, I don't know, Brakpan in South Africa or something.
You could be in Bulgaria.
Remember You
got to understand, China.
Gotta understand.
Anyway, let's get into what actually happened here.
Absolutely. Okay, so as we all know, Shinzo Abe is the former prime minister of Japan. Love him or hate him, he has been around for a long time. I think he may have been the longest serving prime minister.
He was, yeah.
He did a lot to try and bolster Taiwan and Japanese defenses, in the region and stuff. He did a lot of sort of pro-NATO stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
Tons of people love him. Tons of people hate him. Yeah. Just like Obama or Biden or anyone else. Either way, he's a politician, okay? Unfortunately, during a campaign speech yesterday, he was gunned down by a psychopath with a homemade shotgun. Yeah.
I was shocked to hear this, and we're not here to discuss like how it went down.
No.
But I was shocked to hear it because of Japan's crazy gun laws. And I want to give some people some facts about Japan's gun laws. So you can't have guns in Japan, obviously. Can't. C-A-N-T. It's not the U.S.
There are rare cases for
There are rare cases. So you can have a gun if you are a skeet shooter or a target shooter. Mm-hmm. You have to pass background checks. Then you have to keep your gun at the police station, and they like rent it out. Basically, you have to sign it out. And it has to be like disassembled, and you can carry it only to the shooting facility, apparently. Mm-hmm. Do that, and then you have to return it.
There's also something about the bullets.
There's also something, every single bullet is like registered to that person. Anyway, long story short, that's why when I was shocked to hear, and then I found out it was a homemade gun, it made a lot more sense.
Sure.
Right. But this is not here to talk about what went down. The most important thing that happened here was that an ex-leader was lost, a democratically elected leader.
Yeah.
And something we have personal experience with is the polar opposite. I think China's doing a great job of trying to it make some equivalencies or something with different countries. But China's not a democracy. It's a full one-party dictatorship. When you go to Japan, like we saw when we were there, the democracy is taken very seriously.
You got these weird politicians standing on buses making speeches and stuff. It's kind of bizarre.
White guy.
I know, it's so
Japanese.
strange.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
You can run for politics in Japan, and the thing is, people take it very seriously and get down to earth with their people, right? I remember there's a lot of campaigning going on in this small town. I was outside of Mount Fuji in this small town, in Hakone, I believe, and there was a lot of campaigning going on. People were giving me stuff and waving. Everyone's friendly, but the politicians were right there. It wasn't a representative. The politician was there on the ground doing it, right?
Yeah.
So the campaigning it's not like China.
Yeah.
It's a full on. Actually, if you look at the freedom index, it's slightly freer than.
So it's
the
not
US.
like Xi Jinping standing in a railway station with
exactly
no one nearby.
Correct. And I don't want people to think that they're like two different sides of the coin or something. These are worlds apart.
Sure.
These are worlds apart here. So Shinzo Abe was not even serving at the time. I mean, he's an ex-prime minister.
Yeah, but he's doing a campaign speech because he obviously wants to re-elect.
First party.
Yeah,
first party.
Right.
He stepped down himself for health reasons. He doesn't want to get reelected, but he's speaking on behalf of his party. So
got some pretty bad health reasons now.
Absolutely, the worst. He's dead.
Yeah.
So
it's unfortunate. It's tragic, and I think we really need to cut to the chase here.
Yeah. So I'm getting to it.
Right.
So China, what we noticed was right on our radar. Very quickly, China puts out this tweet. So pull it up. It says,
in the Global Times.
You read it, yeah.
They put out, the gunman has been identified as a former member of Japan's self-defense force who obtained the firearm through the advantage of his job, Japanese media citing Nara police. Now, first of all, we know it's a homemade gun, so he did not obtain a firearm through his job. This is just bullshit.
They
jumped on it. They put this tweet out.
Chinese state media.
Chinese state media, immediately, some speculative bullshit, and they took the tweet down. Obviously, it's fake. They were probably told to reel it in because in the beginning, I think the Global Times always is very insensitive and very brash, and they really just go out there and they talk absolute crap. They don't care how tragic it is. They don't care. They just say some snarky comment.
Yes.
Okay? The fact of the matter is they got reeled back in because I think the Chinese government realized that this is not the right way to approach this because, there's a lot of tensions in the area.
Yeah.
And if you want to really go and piss everybody off right now, it's a bad idea. But it was kind of too late.
Right.
Because not only state media, but any post about the reported shooting, right in the beginning when they're saying like, breaking news, it's reported that Shinzo Abe has been shot. Immediately, the comments that are upvoted with hundreds of thousands of votes are saying things like, pop the champagne, let's celebrate, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So they had to reel this back and delete a bunch of stuff and, mute a bunch of things. And then they kind of put a China extends sympathy, hopes Abe is out of danger soon tweet. A Global Times article, right? They said that, but that's not what the Chinese internet was saying. Okay, the Chinese internet was saying tons of terrible things.
Yeah, which we'll get into. I just wanted to show the absolute insanity that Global Times, so the Chinese state media, just ran with this. Like, insane. Look at this.
Right.
Like, the attack on Abe will certainly provoke the Japanese right wing. Abe's successor and supporters may seize the incident to push his free and open Indo-Pacific and active participation in the Quad and facilitate NATO's entry into East Asia. So Abe was very
the guy's not even dead yet, or he's not even cold, and they're putting this stuff up.
Yeah, well, China's very scared about Japan's trajectory. Japan's going super pro-West. Right, that's the trajectory, right? Absolutely not going anywhere closer to China, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And to have the West in the Pacific like this with a very strong Asian ally like Japan it's China's worst nightmare. So this is their chance to kind of like, this is what's going to happen. Don't let this happen. Don't let China be affected.
They go again. Right-wing forces in Japan may become more active and tout war again amid economic downturn, social divisions, and attack on hashtag Abe may accelerate the revision of pacifist constitution and cause ripple effect to foreign policy, like ties with China and U.S.
So what they're worried about now is that, there's going to be people that'll come out and be like, see, our national security is in danger from forces like China, and then there's going to be more anti-China. Yeah. They're so paranoid about the Quad and all these things.
They really just kept tweeting out this photo of the actual shot.
Of him.
We censored this, obviously.
They were using that for political clout.
They're using that to say, oh, well, now...
For their own agenda.
Yeah, exactly, which is kind of crappy. So this is Chinese state media. Anyway, they kept going on about this nonsense. And then, what else?
They just kept going.
They just kept on
the attack
going.
on Shenzhen could stimulate the Japanese right to promote popular, xenophobic, and even extreme political goals. Expert.
And if you look at the posting of these tweets, it's like almost every hour.
It's rapid fire. They just want to capitalize on this and use it for a pro-China agenda.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah, it's awful.
The way, like, the Chinese media went ape shit with this.
And then they put out, oh, China was shocked by the incident, blah, blah, blah.
So what they do is they say, oh, all this bad shit's going to happen. Japan's going to be super anti-China. We're so worried about ourselves, by the way. We're so sorry. We hope
that
Shinzo
only
Abe.
comes later. Yeah. And this is the same publication, by the way, the Global Times.
We're so worried about Shinzo Abe. We hope he gets better. That's
yeah, exactly.
the most two-faced bullshit you've seen. You saw it rapid fire. We're watching it come out, and we were like, did you see this?
Yeah.
Did you see this? Did you see this?
Anyway, you can see they deleted their own tweet. That was obviously the tweet they put out about the guy getting the gun through his, like, again, they were trying to say that, because he worked for the defense, the kind of Navy or whatever, that's bad and he can get guns to kill. Right. But obviously that wasn't true. No. And they just put out this misinformation nonsense. But now here's the real, the root of things. Something we really need to show you is immediately when you had an official post about this, whether it be whichever news organization in China, which they're all the same, okay? People were talking about and getting upvoted for saying things like, the people of Shaanxi extend our warm congratulations to this. Also, the people of Jiangsu extend our warm, all the different places. They're basically saying this is fantastic, and all the people of these different provinces, we extend our congratulations to his death, to the killer, which is pretty disgusting. Even worse, while he was still alive, at least in the news, they were saying that he was in a critical condition. People were wishing him death, okay, in these comments on these official things. They were saying, congratulations to the shooter, and we wish that Abe dies, this kind of thing. Disgusting stuff.
Yeah.
Now, again, you might think that's fringe. You might think it's fringe, but no. Those are the top upvoted comments. Those are comments that are reaching the top.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, I'm glad you pulled this up first, because it's much less important than what we're about to show. Yeah. When you have businesses catering to it, then you're going to show what public sentiment is.
Yes. So here we go.
Not fringe.
Now, you might be curious as to how they have such a quick turnaround time to be able to make banners for their businesses. Yeah. We're going to show you.
Yeah.
We actually have footage to show you how. But businesses immediately, now bear in mind, these pictures were taken yesterday, okay? Mm-hmm. While he was still not officially dead yet.
Right.
Okay? Banners were going up around the businesses. What does this particular one say?
It says, in celebration of Abe's death, buy one, get one free.
Yeah, it says Chundian. So that means like everything in the shop.
Yeah.
Buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
Okay? In celebration of his death. Great, eh?
Yeah.
Let's see. This is that's above some kind. I don't know if it's what kind of shop it is. Okay, here's like a restaurant. And it also, what does this one say?
Oh, this says in celebration of Shinzo Abe's death, buy one, get one free
for 3 days. For the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Buy one, get one free. So in celebration of the murder of Shinzo Abe is the correct way to say it.
Yeah.
And that is Naita.
Yeah.
So it's like milk tea. So it's like buy one milk tea and get one free for the next 3 days to celebrate the murder of Shinzo Abe.
Yeah.
It's classy.
Yeah.
Stay classy, China. This one.
This is like a 3 days weekend carnival.
Carnival, yeah, I'd say carnival.
Everything off.
40% off.
40% off, yeah. So
everything for the Zhoumo weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the 3 day weekend.
So everything for the 3 day weekend is 40% off.
And it says to celebrate the passing of Shinzo Abe.
And they use the word like kind of carnival.
Yeah, this is a 3 day carnival celebration. Yeah, lovely. How about this handwritten note? Today is a great day, basically, is what it's saying there.
It says, today is a happy day.
Yeah.
Former Prime Minister... Yeah, it's former...
Yeah.
Former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is been shot dead. Let's celebrate. Everyone's spending over 100 yuan.
We'll get an 8.8 yuan discount.
Yeah, so you get 8.8 yuan off if you spend 100 yuan.
Yeah.
For the celebration of him being shot dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the
language
okay.
used.
Now this one's handwritten. The other ones were printed signs.
Yeah.
These are on businesses.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah.
We've got people celebrating his death in WeChat groups, having a big laugh about it. I'll put this out of there. You can see they're having a big ha ha ha.
Yeah, I'm more focused on these like public displays.
Sure,
here.
obviously.
That's public sentiment.
Yeah.
In general.
This one in particular really pisses me off because it says, in celebration of the assassination of Shinzo Abe, all beers will be buy one, get one free.
Yeah, it says assassination.
Yeah. So, it's basically, you buy one beer, you get one free. Great. So it's like, let's have a big celebration. Free beers all around, basically, because he's been killed.
Yeah.
Isn't that bloody disgusting?
Yeah.
You know what? Here's the thing. If Xi Jinping were to die...
Or whatever.
Let's just say he were to die of a heart attack.
Just died, yeah.
Okay? I'd be kind of like, well, great. Finally, we're rid of him. Okay?
Right.
I'll be honest with you.
Hopefully there's some reform.
Yeah, but I'm not going to go out and celebrate this.
Absolutely not.
Now, especially if he gets assassinated.
Yeah, of course.
If someone
not.
went and shot him,
Right.
I'd be like, that is terrible. That's terrible.
Right.
I don't... This is just not something that can be celebrated.
No.
Okay?
I will say that there's a huge difference, and I very, very much think it's not good to make that comparison.
Yeah.
I don't think you're doing anything wrong, but I think people to understand the democratically elected prime minister is not the same as a forced dictator that has no term limits.
Of course. If Xi Jinping were to be assassinated, let's just say, for instance, I would think it would be good for the world, personally. But I'm not going to go put a banner outside my freaking shop to say, to celebrate the assassination of Xi Jinping.
You shouldn't celebrate the death of anyone.
Half off,
Yeah.
No, you shouldn't.
No.
You should not celebrate the murder of somebody, especially not in a jovial way like this on
like
a national
selling beer.
scale.
Yeah.
On a national scale, using it as a promotion for your shop to give a discount.
It's sociopath stuff.
It is.
But it's stuff that's they've been indoctrinated since babies to do this.
Yeah.
When you tell your kids to kill Japanese people and to hate them and that they're evil and they're actually the same as demons.
Yeah.
Over and over again. And your teacher says that, and your grandpa says that, and your mom says that, and the government says that on TV. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
This kind of stuff. It's really gross stuff happens.
Yeah.
I
I got a little wake-up call for all Chinese people is that the Communist Party of China killed more Chinese people than the Japanese ever did.
Yeah.
Okay,
for sure.
maybe not in the same way. The Japanese, it's inexcusable what they did, but I'm saying on a number scale.
Yeah, on a number scale.
Anyway, let's move on. So you might be wondering how these businesses could get these banners printed.
This is within hours.
Yeah, within hours of hearing that he was shot. Okay, not even dead yet. They were putting these banners up.
No.
And here's some old footage of me going to what's called a Guangao shop. You can even see it up there. It says Guangao Dian. Yeah. Okay. Now what this is it's a place that you can go to do advertisement. Okay. You find them.
Yeah, we used to go these all the time.
You find them everywhere. Okay.
Everywhere, especially in Guangdong.
Yeah. So what it says on the side there is advertising, printing, and whatever. And what you do is you go in there, and they provide a number of services. They can print you just a big banner if you want. They can print you, like a photo or something. They can create vinyl stickers for you. That's what I'm doing here, by the way, is getting vinyl stickers made for my helmet. Because if any of you have seen my helmet when I ride motorcycles, I have the different countries and the different provinces that I've driven around in, or ridden around on a motorcycle. So I got those done within like 15 minutes. Okay? And the reason I'm showing you this is you go to those same shops to get those banners made.
Yeah,
so you can go in there, and it's just a standard font. It's a standard kind of propaganda banner, so there's no preparation needed. You just tell them what you want written. They can print it out for you right there. They've got everything ready. They've got the machine. They've got the cloth. And it's just like, put on there, to celebrate this and this, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, okay. And they'll print it out. You can get it within 10, 15 minutes. So that's why there's such a quick turnaround on these signs.
Yeah.
You don't have to order them or wait for them.
No.
So
A little lore here. By the way, that cloth that they use for those banners, you'll see those all over China, by the way, for everything.
yeah, and it all looks the same. The propaganda always looks like that.
Yes.
Sometimes it's yellow. It's mostly white on red.
Yeah, so they use it for advertisements to get people's attention because it's supposed to be propaganda banners.
Yeah.
So it's the same font
It is.
and material. There was a rumor going around that they were using forced labor in North Korea to make that specific material, that cloth. Number two bit of lore, in these Guangdao shops down south, these people come from a certain area of Guangdong, which is the Cantonese region. It's called Chaoshan.
Yeah.
And the Chaoshan, shout out to all the Chaoshan people that run these shops because they are so industrious. I mean, you get people with like elementary school education, or have never been to school before, that know how to use Photoshop
They
way
know
better
it
than
so
I do.
good, so good.
And they set up these little shops, and the Chaoshan people are very famous for having so many kids and completely ignoring the one-child policy.
True.
They get married really young too.
Yeah.
So it'd be like a 19-year-old girl with like 6 kids, and she's doing Photoshop with two babies here. You know.
Yeah,
It's
we used
such
to
a
get
thing.
adverts made for our
Yeah.
motorcycle shop and stuff in these kind of places.
It's crazy.
But you can find them in any little urban village or any outskirts of the cities. You find these everywhere. So for those of you wondering how they could get those banners made so quickly, here's your answer. Just go to a Guangdao shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so of course we have to look at some more of these sort of despicable comments. Let's let it play through. Otherwise, I'll miss it by mistake, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But oh, look, there's an evil uncle checking me out. Freaking evil uncle's like, jing, yeah. It's like, what the hell's this foreigner up to?
I don't know about this.
I'll go report him to the local security guards. That used to happen to me
happens a
so
lot, yeah, me
much. I'm filming
that more
myself,
than
and the bloody cops would show up because one of those bastards had ratted me out.
Yeah.
Because they're taught to do that as well, by the way.
Right.
You know, be suspicious of all foreigners. See something, say something, type thing. You know.
So this is a good bit of I don't know, not lore, a good bit of how introduction to how the Chinese internet works. So on video streaming websites like YouTube, it's weird. You guys will probably find this absolutely infuriating and insane.
Oh, I hate it.
In
Wild
China,
subtitles.
Yeah, in China, it's called wild subtitles. It's people's live comments will come up, and keep in mind, you might think that's like, wow, they get to write whatever they want. No. Listen. You can't write like Xi Jinping is bad or overthrow the Chinese government. That's already blocked, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they have these live comments that will come up, live subtitles basically, that were either posted when the video was published, and like that's the comment section right there, right? Or it'll be like live stuff.
I'm just translating some of these.
Yeah.
They're terrible. Like, today is a great
beautiful,
day.
yeah.
Congratulations. Wow, this is amazing. Ha, ha, ha. You know, like all this nonsense. Oh, it says beautiful. Piaoliana. It's beautiful. All these things, you know, today is like really lucky.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking at all these comments, and this is because it's being reported that he's just been shot. And all of these comments, is not one of them that are like saying, oh, that feel terrible, or condolences, or I hope he's okay. It's all like beautiful, good, great, luck,
Eat sunflower
amazing.
seeds.
Yeah, it's like, what the hell?
So they're celebrating this. But basically, I wanted to explain.
It's like,
this.
tonight I'm going to make food. What is that? Jinwan Jiacai? What does that even mean? Oh, great. Now, because he's dead, I'm going to make food.
Jia cai means add more dishes to
Yeah.
celebrate. When you celebrate something, you jia cai
Yeah,
means
add
you
food.
You add more dishes.
Because, for the celebration. So you
For a
don't
feast.
just have your...
It's a feast.
So for once, that freaking peasant who's made that comment's not just going to eat rice with a single bean
it means
on
to
it.
have a feast.
Yeah,
to
so now I'm
celebrate.
going to add an extra bowl of vegetables to the side.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or meat.
Anyway.
Usually it's meat.
Yeah, obviously.
So this is how the Chinese internet works, though, is that they have these, and people will watch videos like this. They won't barely see the video.
Yeah.
Because they need to see, a lot of how Chinese internet culture works is everything's in your face at once.
Today I'm eating dumplings.
So you need to see people, how other people reacted so that you yourself can react in a way. It's a very interesting cultural phenomenon.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I really hate wild subtitles.
Oh, it's horrid. I'm just explaining
First of all,
it to
like,
people.
when my wife watches like a Korean drama or something, it'll have this.
She does that?
Well, she used to. I don't know if she does it anymore. But like when I was...
my wife would go insane.
I remember she used to. Maybe I put her off it. I haven't seen her doing that recently, but every time I'd be like, how can you watch this?
Yeah.
Because it blocks the screen.
Yeah.
It's just
It does.
everybody
It's
saying
just-
like, ha ha.
Like you
or
can
like,
barely
oh.
see Shinzo Abe there.
Just imagine you're like watching Bold and the Beautiful, and all that's coming up there is like, oh, Ridge is gonna have a fallout with
I'd probably
Brooke.
rather see that. You know what I mean? I'd
But
rather
I'm just
read
saying,
people's
it's like
comments. I know what you mean,
the
though.
subtitles are telling you what you should think.
Yeah, imagine
That's the
watching
thing.
Stranger Things or something, and it's just walls of text.
Yeah, and the walls of text blocking everything. And
they scroll.
And it's like telling you what you should think. Oh, that's scary.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what is also super crazy is Japanese internet too. It's
Yeah.
mad cluttered too.
But do they have wild subtitles?
Well, you know what they do have is on their TV shows, they always have celebrity panels with their reaction in the corner to tell you how to react. Japan's super weird too about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean, like, anyone who can read Chinese and sees what's going on here,
absolutely
it's despicable. The people are basically celebrating this happening in the wild subtitles. They're laughing at it. They're saying how, how they're going to celebrate tonight about it. They're saying how funny it is and how lucky it is and how, what's the word, fortunate, they're talking about fortune, they're talking about all this crap. So those are wild subtitles on like a live
I love
broadcast.
you, China.
Yeah.
Why?
Seriously.
What does it have to do with anything?
Other CCP shills and sycophants that work for the Chinese government.
Chinese state media as well,
Yeah.
but it's a foreigner from New Zealand.
Says, guess what? China's 1.4 billion people hold a kaleidoscope of different views. They're not a monolith.
See, this is the state narrative right now. I thought it was interesting to see I shouldn't say a foreigner. He works for Chinese state media, but it literally says Chinese state affiliate media.
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, like this dude and like Chinese state media in general, how they're trying to play this, because it looks really bad as a pockmark, right?
Sure.
They've created this massive beast of hatred.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, dude, that's pretty gross. Like, why are they saying that kind of stuff? Like, what's wrong with China? It's making China look bad. And that's China's worst nightmare. They've created a nightmare.
Yes.
That's simultaneously their worst nightmare.
Yes.
And this is mirroring the Chinese government sentiment flawlessly.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, of course some people said that, but it's not all people.
Yeah, but look at how he finishes it off. He says, some are happy, sure, and they have every right to be.
Tell me that's not an endorsement.
Of course that's an endorsement. That's disgusting.
It's an endorsement for assassination of a political leader,
it's
an
like,
ex-political leader.
Some people are happy. They have every right to be happy that he was assassinated.
Yeah.
And again, like you said, they're trying to downplay it by saying it's just a few. It's
just
a big population.
That's what they do with the
There'll always be a
Great
few bad
Translation
eggs.
movement.
Yeah, there'll be a few bad eggs.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, no. It's why are people seeing this? It's not because it's a few. If it's a few, you wouldn't see it.
It's the majority,
Yeah.
right? And the thing is, like I said, I think the greatest thing you can do to really kind of not make excuses for this, but to understand it, is to realize the Chinese government created this. The Chinese people didn't have an inherent hatred. They weren't born with hatred in their heart for Japan or for any country in the world. No. It's a political tool to further the leadership of the Chinese Communist Party. And it's only that, right? So this guy is another tool in the wheel in the cog.
He certainly is a tool, I'll tell you that much.
Tool in the bag,
He's
or whatever.
he's just a frickin' tool, you know?
Yeah, quite literally.
Yeah, awful.
Of the Chinese government.
Anyway, as things were unfolding, Australian Chinese dissident Badiao Cao was translating some of the popular comments.
Yeah, there's
that were going on.
lots and lots. They're just coming out now.
Yeah, but this was as it was happening.
Yeah. I'm saying there's more. If we missed 1 billion of them already.
Yeah.
Because of just as we speak, it's going crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So he just a couple.
My kid's too small. I can't see these.
You can't see them? Okay. So he's just translating a few. So it says like from WeChat. It says, I hope it is the current Japanese Prime Minister.
It means I wish. I wish it was. You got the tense wrong.
And the Korean one too that got shot. And then from Weibo, congratulations from the people of Shanxi. Eat an extra bowl of rice, just like we were saying earlier, Jiacai, right? Over here, it's like from Weibo. Congrats. We read that one. I am waiting for Abe's death. So now this is obviously when he was still in critical condition. People are saying, I'm waiting for Abe's death. Who is the attacker? I want to donate money to him. I have to say, it's great news. You know, these are comments that are going around on the very popular platforms, basically the Twitter of China.
Yeah.
It says, from WeChat, thank you, anti-Japanese hero. I can laugh now. From WeChat, party time. Hope the man has trouble. Hope the gun is fine. And then F it. I'm so happy. All right, this is just some of these posts. So, according to Badiao Cao here, it says Chinese nationalists on Weibo have begun to celebrate that Japan's ex-PM is shot during a campaign today. They call the attacker a hero and send death wishes to Abe. And it is incredibly popular, and it is the majority of people. I'm sick and tired of defending these awful netizens, by the way. And as somebody who has so many ties to China, as we do, familial ties and also many friends and so on, there are certain things that cannot be defended. And in this particular situation, you cannot say that it's a minority, a small little minority that's reacting this way, when you know for a fact that it's actually the majority of people in China hold this sentiment because that's what they've been taught. Mm-hmm. You know, this is one of those situations where you can't get away with it. You know, the opposite seems to happen here in the States. People seem to think that the KKK is somehow omnipresent, you know, in the whole country, but it is actually a very small minority. You don't really run into members of the KKK. I've never run into one. I don't know about you. No. But you hear about them all the time.
Yeah, they exist in a very small...
The difference is that in order to run into these kind of comments on the Chinese internet, which is the most heavily censored internet in the world, okay, and for them to come to the forefront so quickly, and for people to go and put banners on their freaking shops and in the windows of their shops and so on, celebrating the death of this, shows you that it's not a small minority.
No.
It's not a tiny little clan of people living in the hills.
More so than the internet comments, it's seeing in public businesses. Like, you can't excuse that.
No, you can't
excuse that.
You can't. It shows you that the sentiment is so widely accepted that people would feel no shame to put up a banner outside of their business, their place of business, to say this kind of thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and it's a political tool for the Chinese government.
You know, like you wouldn't get a business here, for instance, putting up something that's terribly racist or something. It wouldn't be like F the N-word or something and put it out in front of their business.
Honestly, and if they did...
It'd get destroyed.
Oh, I mean, like, what a bad idea that would be for them.
Absolutely.
And there would not only just get destroyed, you'd have boycotts, you would have all kinds of pushback, it would be exposed, you know?
In China, all that happens is if that kind of stuff leaks, like it does, because now, for instance, we're talking about it, the images of those restaurants, etc., will be removed from the internet, and that's where it will end. There will be no repercussions for the shop owners who put that crap up.
And then the Chinese government will lay claim to the fact that almost no one thinks that way.
And it's only a small little minority of bad eggs type thing.
And they had nothing to do with this, by the way. We didn't create this monster.
If it's a small minority, why do we all see this from the most controlled internet in the world?
Yeah, I mean, they could shut it down in 2 seconds.
They could have.
Yeah.
They could have prevented it, but they allowed it to garner so much.
They endorse it. It's on purpose.
Yeah.
It is, they want to have their cake and eat it too.
They do. There was a reporter in China, Chinese reporter, who was reporting on the situation live.
Yeah.
And she was getting very upset that Shinzo Abe had been shot. She was, close.
Because as we're about to talk about in the next slide, there are reasonable people.
Yes, there are, of course, reasonable people.
In China.
But she was getting emotionally upset during her newscast. Okay, she was casting live. And she got attacked by Chinese netizens for being unpatriotic, for being...
Because she should celebrate.
Yeah, that she's upset that he was shot.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And this is a very unhealthy situation.
It's super gross.
And this is something that everybody around the world needs to pay attention to, because this is the way that China reacts to these kind of things. This is the real sentiment of the Chinese people.
Right.
This is the real sentiment. And
it's on purpose.
Yeah, it's what the government has fostered through education and through brainwashing and through...
But it's not their outward appearance.
No.
That's the problem, is they want to look like a peaceful, diplomatic, dove-like country that doesn't have any problems in the whole world, is not colonialist or imperialist, I should say.
Yeah, imperialist.
Doesn't go and spread around the world with malice and in ill intent. Does not take advantage of people all around the world, and it does not have any military ambitions. That's what they're trying to portray to the world.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, doing the exact opposite over and over and over again, and that's why we keep having to cover this crap, is because they do one thing and say something completely the opposite, and it's enough. Because that's what molds diplomatic relationships. It's what molds economic agreements. It's what molds, like, whatever official words the Chinese government says is what molds how diplomacy works with China. Yeah. And the world can't operate like that because their actions are wildly different from what they're saying diplomatically.
Correct. And that's what soft power is.
Yeah.
Their soft power is their ability to change your mind to think that they're doing one thing, meanwhile they're doing another thing. That's why we have the soft power hour here
Right.
on our show. It's to
Right.
show you this. And it is. What the Chinese government says and what they do are two completely different things.
Right.
The amount of anti-Japanese rhetoric that you hear on the news and you see on the TV and these fantasy dramas that they have every day on TV is disgusting.
Right.
You can pick any nationality right now, okay? You choose it. Think of a nationality that your country had a conflict with in the past and has a problem with, okay? You choose it, whichever one you want.
Yeah.
Now, imagine your government made TV shows every day depicting those people as subhuman animals, all right? Every single day blamed that country from something that happened 100 years ago, 90 years ago, whatever
Which
the
is
hell it was.
horrific.
Yes,
but is not
horrific.
Not relevant now.
No.
It's relevant for history.
Yes.
And to learn lessons from that.
But imagine that your government was so focused on daily teaching you to hate a specific nation
Yes.
or a specific
Over
race.
and over and over
Non-stop.
again.
And then
Called them demons and devils and dirty and bad and dumb and little
showing
and
you
ugly.
showing you just disgusting, abhorrent things day in and day out when it comes to that person. What happens when one day something terrible happens to somebody in that country? You know what happens? Everyone celebrates because they've been taught to celebrate, and that's what we're seeing here. You know, you can say that the West really hates Nazis, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean they hate Germans,
No.
right?
Correct.
Because what you're doing is you're hating
Why would you hate Germans?
a political party
Nazis.
from that time
Correct.
that brought
That does
about
not
this
represent the
terrible.
current
Of
people.
course, you cannot say that a German person. So let's just say, I don't know, Angela Merkel has an assassination attempt or an assassination or something.
Whatever, yeah.
People are not going to go like, "Yay, death to Nazis."
No, it's not relevant.
No, she's got nothing to do with the
Nazis. Yeah.
the Nazi party.
No.
And that's a big difference here, is that the Chinese government demonizes Japanese people,
Yes.
as in
Yes.
every Japanese person.
Yes. Now. Currently.
Man, woman, child, doesn't matter. They demonize them. And they're not demonizing, Emperor Hirohito's bullshit little,
Nope.
I'm God thing.
Nope.
And his little clan and all that nonsense from that
Horrible
time.
shit that
no.
they did.
Yeah. What they're doing is they're demonizing Japanese people and the country.
Now.
Yes, now. And all of them, without exception. So when you get a leader in Japan like this, or ex-leader who's assassinated and it's a tragedy, you see this huge amount of celebration, And that is the result of it, really. So,
Now, the flip side of that,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was very interesting, is there are obviously a lot of reasonable Chinese people.
yes, there are, but they do
But
not
they-
have a voice.
They can't do anything. And
Yeah.
you have to look so hard to find stuff like this, but it's ingenious. Right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the hidden populace, the ones in China that are just ready to do something about, like not anything violent, but ready to rebel, ready to speak up, but finding ways to do it. This will show you how repressed things are.
Yeah.
The Chinese government had to ban certain playlists or orderings of songs, right? And I'll tell you why. A lot of Chinese people started listening to songs based on their title to make them go on the charts,
Yes.
right? And let me read you some of these titles. So this one says 为什么不是你, which means
Why isn't it you?
Why wasn't it you?
Yeah, why wasn't it you? Why isn't it you?
The
Yeah.
next one is called 希望是你, which means
I wish it was you.
it was you.
Yeah.
The next one says 下一个就是你.
Yeah, the next one's going to be you.
And the last one says 最后是你就好.
Yeah, exactly. Right at the end, it'll
The
be you, and
last
that's
one,
good.
Yeah, the last one is you. That's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you can just use your imagination as to what people are thinking about that.
Yeah.
Just use your imagination.
Obviously, they're thinking about Xi Jinping there.
Yeah, and that was kind of interesting to see that come out.
Yeah.
They shut that down.
Shut that down really quickly, yeah.
Because there is that sentiment in China.
Yeah, of course.
Not that anyone's calling for that. It's just that there is a lot of deep-seated hatred and sentiment in the democratic Chinese people that want a voice.
Yeah,
We get messages from them all the time.
correct. So now you know how and I hate to say this, but the majority of the Chinese internet has been reacting to this sort of thing. Of course, there have been people who've been sympathetic. And we've even seen the diplomats, the wolf warriors, try their best to be diplomatic in this particular situation. Obviously, they know that it's the wrong time to be pissing everybody off because the way things are going in that region, like I said earlier, if they were to insult, people too much, with this kind of like let's celebrate that you're someone you care about, one of your leaders has been murdered, because that's what they're doing. They realize that might rub some people up the wrong way, and it might make them think, well, if that's the way you think about it, screw you. There's no reason that we have to be diplomatic towards you.
For sure.
For
sure. Absolutely.
Which honestly, that's what China needs. They need people to stop being diplomatic because China's probably the least diplomatic country other than like Duarte or whatever his name is, or, some of these Duterte, is that his name? Yeah. People like that who just say absurd things.
Right.
There are a couple out there, North Korea and stuff. But when it comes to like being diplomatic, China's one of the worst countries in the world. Their idea of being diplomatic is to insult people. And to do this wolf warrior shit all the time.
Where they demonize and become incredibly racist domestically.
Yes.
And then outwardly say, we are the savior of the world.
Yeah.
We hate everyone.
But even
we're
outwardly, I mean, look at like what's his stupid name? Jali Jin with showing CG Australian soldier cutting a child's throat and stuff like that. Who does that? That's not diplomacy.
Like next level bad.
There is no diplomacy.
The Chinese government's next level bad.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's really bad. They constantly whine and moan about like, oh, poor us, we're not treated well. But they're the ones that are the, it's just projection,
Yeah.
They're the ones that are the worst when it comes to diplomacy out there. So I don't know what they're whining about.
No.
But, the fact of the matter is the rest of the world has been treating China very well. If you were to weigh it up compared to the actions of the Chinese government, I think they've been treated more than fairly, being allowed into the UN human rights and all this other nonsense, and people taking them seriously.
Yeah.
And maybe it's time the rest of the world does a little tit for tat. And when this kind of terrible behavior comes out of China, which is state encouraged,
people call it out.
Yeah, it needs to be called out, and there needs to be apologies.
Yeah.
Yeah. They need to make
you will never once get
and they need to make a strong bloody statement to the populace of China to say this is not okay.
This is bad behavior.
Because they won't say that.
Because they made it.
Yeah.
It only serves them. If they do that, they admit they're wrong, and then people start to question the Chinese government. See how easy this is to figure out.
Yeah.
They will never do that.
Yeah.
It's impossible for them. They made this monster. Yeah. They want it to be like that.
They do.
But they want the rest of the world to think that they're doves.
Yes, correct.